Behind me, we have the new 55-gallon Guppy tank. And maybe just pull this back here a bit so that everybody can see what's going on. So, in this Guppy tank, the only thing that's gonna change is the gravel. The gravel will become sand eventually, but besides that, this tank is basically what it is. I might add a few more extra plants here. You can see that these two new plants have been added today. I cut my palm, so I don't want to be sticking my hands in there anytime soon. So for now, we're just gonna let them sit in there. My goal with this tank is to have, well, since I was a kid actually, the one thing I wanted for keeping fish was to have one big tank full of like lots of colors, lots of vintage, and things like that. Unfortunately, doing like bettas or a whole bunch of, I don't know, gouramis, maybe even, it doesn't tend to work out too well. So yeah, my idea was to do a guppy tank, and in the end, it is to make a profit as well as possibly making my own few strains. Now I know there's so many strains out there right now that to create a new strain is going to be pretty hard. My first idea is going to be the snakeheads with the half moons or the snakeheads with the green cobras. So I'll go probably female green cobras and male snakeheads. In my tank now, I do have a few of those I can show you. So these ones here are your snakeheads. Let's see if we can get in there. See if we can find one here. So this is the green cobra. And then the snakeheads are up here. And there's a green cobra. And then the snakeheads. So I think that's gonna be a pretty cool idea because, and the reason I chose this is because the male snakeheads, they have a lot of color on them. Plus their skin alone looks like a snake. Their head looks like a snake head. So their name actually describes them quite well. And then the reason I chose the green cobras as the females is because I really like that neon green color. And if you look really closely, they also have like a zebra, not stripe, but if the zebras were spotted, it's kind of like that. So I think a mix of those two would be super cool. Now if this strain already exists, comment below, let me know so that, you know, I'm not thinking that I've created my own strain. I would never want to do that. But going on with everything else, my tank setup, I do keep my tank at 28. And there's my dial. I keep it at 28. It's 28.5 right now. We will have to adjust that. So the reason I keep it at 28 is because I am trying to breed them. The warmer that your water is, the bigger the possibility is that it's going to happen. I do have two females that are pregnant right now, so I'm really excited for that. They are fancies, so very common, but still the experience of having bred them is going to be really cool. I use a lot of driftwood. This big piece of driftwood here is actually from the coast of Victoria Island. It's a 2x4, and it's just super neat. Here, let's take a look at it. Super neat piece of wood. A lot of these rocks came from Victoria as well. So again, I'm going to change the gravel. It's going to become a sand substrate. And the other reason for that is because I do have horn snails, horn narite snail. And he should be just on that branch there. As well as there are a couple assassin snails too. Now the assassin snails is to keep the snail birth down. It's so that my tank doesn't get infested with snails. And then my horn snail is in there to clean the glass. So it cleans like a lot of the algae off the glass. Now I'm not gonna say that it's gonna clean a lot of the algae off of, you know, your plants and your rocks and stuff. I know it will, but its main purpose is for the glass. I have an angelfish in here. I know what you're thinking, you know, that's technically a cichlid. But, and I'm going to tell you right now, like, all these tank mates, they're rarely even talked about with the Guppy tank. And now I've had this Guppy tank for a month. There has been no harm done whatsoever. So my suggestion is, I chose an angelfish that was like the marble angelfish. It's a more friendly angelfish out of all the angelfish. When it's by itself, it doesn't do any harm. Here and there you'll watch it chase some of the guppies, just like my gourami's doing right now. That is a blood red dwarf gourami. That is another tank mate that I suggest putting in there just because of those colors. It's got that beautiful red, and then it's got like that icy blue mohawk. So when you're looking to liven up your tank, because guppies are really small, and this is the reason I'm using these, is to bring more life to the tank and a lot more color. So like big bold colors, as you can see, like you can't miss that blood dwarf. So, and you can't miss, well, except for when he's hiding all the time. There's no way you can miss that angelfish. If I can get him. Well, he's down there in the corner here. But he's hiding. And I just got this plant here today. And that's made for a lot of the breeding and gives the angelfish more places to hide when he's feeling, you know, overrun, I guess. So I do have one more tank mate, or I have a few more tank mates in here. We have the albino pleco. I've seen a lot of other plecos in guppy tanks, and of course the albino corridori cat. Now I've seen the cories in every tank, basically. Albino with the plecos, I see plecos in mostly every tank. I've never seen the albino ones. So the albino do work in guppy tanks, and everything I'm talking about, I speak for bigger tanks here. Here, let's give these guys some food. One thing I'm going to show you guys is that I built this. It's a DIY feeding trap. And shout out to the DIY King for showing me this. And so what I'll show you actually what that is. And it works so well for guppies. And shout out to Aquarium Co-op, because I know Aquarium Co-op does it. Keeping fish simple. Shout out to you. But yeah, it's just a ring, and it helps all the fish realize where the food is at all times. So normally people are using those because they have a lot of floating plants, or duckweed, or pearl grass. There's a lot of, pardon me, I'm fine by the way, I don't have COVID, I smoke a lot. But a lot of the time people have like duckweed or a lot of floating plants, so they'll use that ring idea so that it leaves a clear opening for the fish to see where the food is, and then they get used to it. Now, I don't have a lot of floating plants. I do have, you know, one or two here. But I actually use that, it works too, just to help fish know where the food is at all times. So whether you have floating plants or you don't have floating plants, try it out, it works. It takes about a day for them to like kind of realize what that is. I've used a blue ring, just so that it's more visible for them. Take a look here. And then I kind of got like this little plug thing for your window, and I just kind of Gorilla glued that on there. I didn't Gorilla glue it to the window, I just Gorilla Glue the pieces together. I still have one more tank mate. He is my favorite tank mate. I've been trying to see where he's at. He does hide a little bit, but in the meantime, while I'm kind of looking for him, we can go over a few of the gouramis that, or not gouramis, sorry, the guppies that I have here. So over here, we are going to see snakeheads. We are going to see half moons. Sorry, the half moon and the sunrise tequila are babies over there. They're actually two of my favorite, and I believe actually are my wife's favorite too. So we also have a lot of fancies. We have green cobras. We have a red and gold tuxedo. We have red tuxedos, and there is one random guppy in here. I'm gonna think that it's a fancy, but I'm just not sure. It's the black and white one right here. Now it's the only one that looks like that. It's really, really cool, as well as this one here. That little icy blue looking, just went behind the rock. It's also a baby. That's the sunrise tequila and the half moon. And then there's that little baby there. So yeah, comment down below if anybody can help me out with some of the names to these guppies. You know how it is, sometimes you go into a store and it's assorted guppies, and you just gotta take your best guess at what kind of guppy it was, or what it was possibly being bred with. As for food, I use a variety of foods, and it's always good to use a variety of foods. You know what, I'm just thinking, you can see the lack of water here. That's a hint of what the next, or what the last tank mate is. And by the way, like all these tank mates, they bring out a lot of color in this tank, so I strongly suggest doing it. I'm thinking about also getting a honey gourami to put into this tank, and then that'll also give the blood red dwarf gourami a friend. I will not be pairing up the angelfish, as I did try to pair up the angelfish before. It was harassing them a lot. And now they do, both the gourami and the angelfish do try to chase them around time to time, but they do not nip. It's more of like entertaining each other, I guess. There's enough little guys in there and little girls that it gives them someone to play with, right? Someone to chase around this big tank. I do have, oh wait, I forgot to tell you about that. So right here, he's coming out. I have a red-tailed shark right on that lava rock. So, and that's another one right there. Like, is that a good idea in a guppy tank? No, it is not a good idea. But where he is only 4 months, 5 months old, until he's about a year old and gets to that size, and I'm starting to notice the size. In the last month, every week he's grown a little faster. So I'm gonna give it about 8 months to about a year, and then at that point he will go into a different tank. But for now, he's super friendly. It would be super cool if he stayed friendly and could stay in that tank, but I highly doubt that. But yeah, so for the first year that he is going to stay in there until I start seeing like behavior problems, and right now I don't. I do know where the last tank mate is, but I'd like to go over a few more things. When it comes to food, I do like to feed a variety, as I was trying to say earlier before I got distracted. I do a lot of bug bites, no matter what tank I'm using. A lot of this one I use for flakes for all my fish. They get this stuff probably 80% of the week. I also tend to mix up the Beta Formula bug bites with the flake. So sometimes I just do the flake, sometimes I do both together. And then the last thing I like to do is just give me 2 seconds. And then lastly, I like to mix up with the bloodworms and the shrimp. So I'll do those probably twice a week. And then, yeah, mostly the dry food for most of the week. I do feed them 3 times a day. Breakfast, lunch, and supper. And then I will give them, possibly, depending on the night, a little bedtime snack. I keep my temperature at 28, like I was saying earlier, because I am in the breeding process. But if you're not looking to breed them and you want them to grow a little slower, I would try 26.5, 27. You want to do probably a 10% change every 2 to 3 days. I tend to try a 10% change every 3 days, sometimes every 2 days. So 2-3 days. Keeping that, for breeding purposes too, keeping that fresh water. The cleaner the water, the easier it is for them to breed. The warmer the water, easier it is for them to breed. The rest of my tropical fish, like the gourami and the angelfish, the plecos, the shark, they all like 28, like that 28 degree anyway. So it's perfect. When breeding, you want it to have a lot of places for the guppies to hide, so they are live bearers. When they lay their babies, they actually are born alive and ready to eat right away. So the males will tend to try to eat them. So having a lot of plants and a lot of places for it to hide is definitely ideal. Or the other possibility is to have like a separate tank to the side, and then take all your babies and raise them in a separate tank for a couple months, and then put them back into wherever you want. So I guess we've pretty much come down to everything. A few things that is really common with guppies is ick, worms. So before putting any of your beautiful guppies into your tank, I strongly suggest that you quarantine your guppies for at least 4 weeks. I know that sounds so long, but I know people that are quarantined right up to like 8 weeks, 12 weeks. But 4 weeks, even like 3 minimum, like if you really want to get those in the tank. And I'm not gonna lie, there has been a few where they only quarantined for 2 weeks. But they looked really good. I stared at them really well. I stared at their behaviors. The one thing you want to see is that they're always swimming. They always want to come up and eat. You don't see any of them slacking. They all have really big bellies. None of them are really thin and narrow. Of course, my babies are going to be, because they're just growing. But yeah. So, I guess definitely I strongly advise that you quarantine your fish using salts, aquarium salts. You can use what do we got? Methylene blue, ick attack, red fungus. There's diced up garlic. There's API. There's so many things that you can use nowadays to make sure that your fish are as healthy and good to go as possible before entering your fancy tank. And lastly, I guess I'm ready to show you guys the last guy. So I have to take all this stuff off. I want to give a shout out to one of my subscribers, Claire, for the face mask and keeping me safe. I really like this one. I always want to use it, but it's white. I don't want to get it dirty. And super awesome. As well as, hold on 2 seconds. Another shout out to another subscriber, Nicole, you know who you are, for sending me the Bower. So if you guys haven't noticed and you've seen my other videos, it's been really shaky. This is my first video, not shaky. I'm loving it. I'm able to pick it up, I'm able to move around. So my videos are gonna be a lot cleaner. The next thing on my list is also getting a mic, so pretty pumped about that. And yeah, if you guys are enjoying this video, please definitely splash that like button. I know it's been a while, but we got lots of good content coming up here in the next couple weeks. Can't wait to get it out. And if you haven't subscribed and you're enjoying this and you want to see more of these videos, definitely subscribe and click that bell notification so you can see when I get my my weekly uploads ready. And yeah, let's take the rest of this stuff down. I'll show you my last guy and then we'll wrap it up. So, and you guys noticed I've got some new plants, some new decorations. Got my my new friend here. He'll be in all the videos. I'm sure you've seen other videos. He's always doing something. Alright. Oh yeah, I can pick this up. So in here, there he is. He's gonna be behind this log. Let's see if we can see him. And there he is. So he was a, now that I've disturbed him. So he is a red claw crab, and he is now one of my very favorites. He does need to have that little bit of land and some of the water. He's really good at taking these like nano pellets and these wafers, these kelp wafers. He really likes that. Actually, I suggest getting these kelp wafers for any of your bottom dweller fish. I got this plant in my face. Okay, goodbye. Alright. Throw him right up here. So yeah, shout out to all those subscribers that are sending me stuff. And I'm still waiting on some artwork. I really want to do up this office a little more. And, oh, there you go. Until then, guys, we'll talk to you later. Cheers.